Travel Curiosities takes you today to discover a hidden side of the United States, far from the bright lights and the promises of the so-called American dream. Have you ever thought that behind the splendor of American cities lies a shocking reality that few dare to show? Or have you ever wondered what it truly means to live on the streets in one of the world's richest nations? If you want to uncover the truth behind the myth, subscribe to our channel and leave a like. This journey is not just a discovery, but an act of awareness. 1. New York City, the broken dream. New York, the city that never sleeps, is home to about 88,000 people with nowhere to rest their heads. Many find themselves in temporary shelters, including entire families with children. The cost of rent is prohibitive. Even full-time workers often cannot afford housing. The city has one of the most extensive shelter systems in the United States, but the problem grows faster than the solutions. High population density and soaring construction costs are enormous obstacles. Moreover, many families with children struggle with educational and social challenges, desperately seeking stability. The American dream feels more like an illusion for those living in the nation's most iconic city. 2. Los Angeles, the shadow of Skid Row. Los Angeles is at the heart of one of America's most severe housing crises, with over 71,000 people experiencing homelessness. Skid Row in the city center is emblematic of this crisis. Streets lined with tents and makeshift shelters, where daily life is a battle for survival. High rents and a lack of affordable housing are compounded by bureaucracy and community resistance. Housing projects often face delays due to strict regulations and a lack of coordinated funding. Skid Row is an open wound revealing the consequences of a system that leaves the most vulnerable behind. 3. San Francisco, the city of extreme contrasts. San Francisco, America's tech capital, is also home to about 7,800 people living on the streets. The gap between rich and poor is staggering. While some earn millionaire salaries, others can't afford even basic shelter. The Housing First program aims to provide housing as a starting point, but construction costs are sky high and available land is scarce. In neighborhoods like the Tenderloin, homeless encampments have become a permanent part of the urban landscape. The city of innovation hasn't managed to innovate solutions for its most vulnerable residents. 4. Phoenix, desert heat and urban desperation. In Phoenix, the number of people without a home increased by 88% in just 4 years, reaching around 9,642 individuals. Extreme temperatures, often soaring above 40 degrees 104 degrees, make outdoor survival life-threatening. The zone is the city's largest encampment, where hundreds seek refuge without proper infrastructure. Despite efforts to expand shelter capacity, the crisis grows faster than institutions can respond. Seasonal work in tourism and hospitality leaves many without stable income, exacerbating the situation. Life in Phoenix's desert is a daily struggle against heat and indifference. What would you do if you found yourself in such an extreme situation? Write it in the comments and subscribe to our channel to continue this journey into the world's hidden truths. Don't forget to leave a like and turn on notifications. 5. Miami, the truth behind the paradise beaches. Miami is synonymous with luxury and entertainment, but for 3,657 people, it also means despair. Skyrocketing rents and low wages force many onto the streets. Young women and war veterans are particularly affected, often driven to desperate choices just to survive. Behind the golden beaches lies a reality few tourists ever imagine. 6. Boston, the fight against the cold. Boston, with its harsh winters, makes life even tougher for the 5,200 homeless individuals struggling to stay alive. Shelters are overcrowded and support programs are racing against limited resources. Housing First is a step forward, but funds remain insufficient. Surviving Boston's winter is a challenge that few can overcome. 7. Seattle, the economy that fuels the crisis. In Seattle, the steep rise in living costs has pushed over 14,000 people onto the streets. Improvised encampments reflect the lack of concrete solutions, while policies that clear these camps often cause more harm than good. The city of big tech companies can't seem to protect its most fragile citizens. 8. Denver, surviving cold and poverty. In Denver, freezing temperatures endanger the lives of over 9,000 homeless people. Families are forced to live in temporary shelters or cars, facing a system that provides no real alternatives. The cold in Denver is just one of the many hardships these people endure. 9. Las Vegas, surviving the excesses of the desert. Las Vegas, famous for its extravagant luxury, hides a darker reality. More than 6,500 people live without a home. Extreme temperatures and economic instability turn everyday life into a struggle for survival. Behind the casino lights, countless lives remain in the shadows. 10. San Diego, the dark side of the coastal beauty. San Diego draws thousands each year for its mild climate, but about 10,000 people live in inhumane conditions on its streets. The lack of support for those suffering from mental health issues or addictions intensifies the crisis. But the problem goes far beyond numbers. San Diego's mild weather attracts people from across the country, lured by the hope of an easier life outdoors. Yet, once they arrive, they face a crushing reality: limited shelter space, long waiting lists for affordable housing, and insufficient mental health services. Families often find themselves living in cars, while veterans and individuals dealing with PTSD or substance dependency struggle to find the specialized care they need. The city's efforts, including outreach programs and transitional housing, can't keep up with the rising tide of homelessness. Even San Diego's warm sun can't illuminate the deep struggles of those who call its streets home. 11. San Jose, the forgotten Silicon Valley. San Jose exemplifies a profound contradiction. The Silicon Valley region breeds billionaires, yet it leaves nearly 10,000 people without a home. Prohibitive costs and a shortage of buildable land make it virtually impossible to create new affordable housing solutions. The complexity lies in the heart of America's innovation hub. While tech giants invest billions in startups and cutting-edge research, local policymakers grapple with zoning restrictions, community pushback against low-income housing, and skyrocketing land prices. As a result, working families, teachers, and service workers, essential contributors to the city's ecosystem, find themselves pushed out onto the streets. This disparity underscores how an economy shaped by innovation can fail to address fundamental human needs. The cradle of innovation is also a breeding ground for inequality, where the promise of a prosperous life vanishes in the face of real estate speculation and relentless growth. 12. Portland, the vertiginous rise of homelessness. Portland has witnessed a 50% increase in its homeless population over just a few years. Parks and public spaces have become makeshift encampments, revealing the failure of a social system that struggles to respond adequately to a mounting crisis. But the situation in Portland is more than a mere statistic. The city, once celebrated for its progressive values and quality of life, now finds itself at a crossroads. Budget constraints limit the expansion of shelters and the creation of permanent supportive housing. Mental health resources are stretched thin, and the fragmentation of services makes it difficult for individuals to navigate a path off the streets. Grassroots organizations try to fill the gaps with food drives, mobile health clinics, and advocacy work, but the scale of the problem is overwhelming. The City of Roses has become a symbol of broken promises and unaddressed needs, an unsettling reflection of how quickly the tide can turn when economic pressures, lack of housing, and insufficient support converge. In conclusion, the American dream has turned into a nightmare for far too many people. The problem isn't just economic, it's social and moral as well. We need comprehensive change involving institutions, communities, and individual citizens. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications to support our mission. Do you think the American dream is truly a myth destined to fade? Or is there still a chance to achieve it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for joining us today. See you in the next episode of Travel Curiosities.